We are now working for 15 years, and since a small group of people, altruists, who wanted to present something which can challenge the paradigm of clash of civilizations, we matured to a very sustainable platform for trying to find a way to avoid clash of civilizations and instead to introduce the paradigm of dialogue.
I think that the rise of populism is not as strong as it used to be, because there's a growing sense that Europe is needed in the world. Europe is a pole of stability, it's a pole of democracy, which is having a special mission to implement among the difficulties of our world.
Well, are there some threats and some problems that they face no borders that we all have to deal with? And we see for the migration crisis, Europe is just starting to face it as a union and not to isolate the problem to Italy and Greece, for example. So I think this perspective that the problems now have no borders and that we have to address them together and find common solutions will be the strategy that can produce the best results for citizens. They can make them feel safe, and actually it could give the importance of dealing with problems that will occur, not just by immigration, but the digitalization of the future will create problems that we will have to address united, and this is something that is global.
I think it's becoming critical for the global world, despite of we have a big trend of isolations in different part of the world, like Brexit, or like we're going in the States, or what's happening now with Russia from West. It's a very dangerous element. I believe the leaders needs to come together and realize, despite of how different we are, despite how sometimes we can disagree, we need to learn to talk to each other.
But countries are trying to assert their authority more and more. Not very effectively. That's why the trust is breaking down, both in terms of the opportunities coming from somewhere else that will lead us to have better, healthier lives, and in terms of the risks, even for a very, very big, and now the one becoming the biggest economically as well, country like China, interdependence becomes more and more important. That's why President Xi, I think very wisely, has stated so clearly that he believes there needs to be more cooperation, more action on global public goods like climate change, like the environment, like the global financial system, because I think he and the Chinese leadership recognize the Chinese future depends on a more balanced world and a more effective management of global problems.
And one of the most important factors, at the same time recognizing the multipolarity, is to face the fact that there are more and more crises, difficulties, economic crisis, problem of climate change, problem of proliferation, North Korean issue, as well as the Iranian issue. We have regional crises, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Libya, Sahel in Africa. All these crises cannot find solutions without the help of the international community. Not only regional mobilization of the countries of the region, but also mobilization of the world community.
At the moment, we're facing some clashes of the globalization. Election of Donald Trump, the Brexit, and also various kinds of political challenges, populist movements in Europe, make a lot of people pessimistic about the future of the globalization. But I think the mega trend of globalization probably will not change because this is a result of technological revolution, our desire to get to know other parts of the world. So globalization probably would proceed despite the setbacks in the long run.
This multipolar concept must be used for the benefit of humanity. I still believe that is the most effective way to ensure peace globally. And also, the world must also know that not just about one nation becoming so developed, getting all the resources of the world and keeping to yourself. The resources must go around.
So I say it's a definitely important element of the development of the world. It's not easy to organize this type of discussion. Sometimes it's, of course, a lot of people have different views, and the debate can be sometimes very tough, but it's good because people can at least hear each other. So I want to wish the DOC to continue this forum in the same direction, keep the development of the discussions and research and audience, and I hope we will continue with interesting, fruitful meetings in Rhodes many more years.
It's just the Rhodes Forum, it has this massive amount of the most interesting people that you can sort of find on the planet at a given moment in time, from a very, very different perspective. And I think a big hand and applause to the Rhodes team that put together our panel, that put together the sort of all of this, because they managed to always bring people together that basically once they meet, they know each other immediately.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's a mix of people. It's fantastic. You know, as critical was at the beginning, I said, "Oh, what am I doing here?" Because my crowd is usually bankers and startups. But it was extremely, extremely informative, and I loved it. And I can really say that. I loved it.
Can't say better than that.